class. Why did we assemble here? So the agenda for next one hour would be to know what is anthropology. More importantly, should we take anthropology for civil services as an optional or not, right? I would rather say my views will definitely be biased, because I would say UPSC mains is not possible without anthropology. I would like to start off with this saying that anthropology is that optional which will either make or break my UPSC mains. What do I mean by this particular statement here? That now we see optional for me is a weightage of 500 marks. And when I say optional is of a weightage of 500 marks, this is the only place where I can score 270 to 290 out of 500. Now, when I look at this corresponding proportion of 270 to 290 out of 500, my percentage is going to be roughly over 55 to 60%. Now, there is no other place in UPSC where I can score anything somewhere between 55 to 60%. Per se, if I look at my GS1, the maximum score that I can score in GS1 is say 100 to 110 out of 250. In GS2, say again 110 to 120 out of 250. In GS3, 80 to 90 out of 250. In GS4, 110 to 120 out of 250. And I don't have to talk about essay after last year's scores. If I say per se essay, it is 110 out of 250. Now, when I look at all of these instances, what is one common takeaway that we see here is that there is no subject where I am crossing 50%. All of my ranges are between 40 to 45%. Now, my question straight on to you is, should I even choose an optional which is going to give me only 40-45%? No. Because at the end of the day, for me, for a general candidate, if I have to qualify mains, it's going to be around 750. Now, when I say 750 for a general candidate, qualifying and giving interview, I'm not talking about rank. Because if I have to get a rank, I'll have to have at least plus 30. That's a different margin altogether. 100 in GS1, 100 in GS2, 90 in GS3, 110 in GS4, 110 in SA. You can sum it up. This is 200, 300, 400. It is 510. Now, when it is 510 in my general studies and essay, if I have to reach around 760, 770, my minimum that should be in my optional is 250 to 260. Now, I can definitely tell you anthropology is one such optional which will guarantee this minimum of 250, 260 for me at any cost. Now, why am I telling you this particular statement? One, based upon my experience of writing with this optional. One. Two, based upon the experience of my students guiding with respect to this particular optional. Three, based upon the observation that you see where at least 3 rankers out of top 10 rankers in civil services will be from anthropology. You can show me no year without anthropology optional students in the top 10. We have All India First, we have All India 3, and there were instances where we also had 5 out of top 10 rankers were belonging to anthropology. Now, this is from the side of examination. Now, when I say examination, for me, anthropology is one source, one area where I can score more than 250 with ease. Now, let's get into the subject perspective. Now, when I'm talking about anthropology as a subject perspective, I would say it is definitely very interesting for a reason. Now, when I say anthropology is interesting, Now you might say, sir, you studied, so it's interesting, right? Now you have to understand that by graduation, I am an engineer. By graduation, I did my master's again in polymer technology. There is no relation with anthropology, but I'm standing confident in front of you to teach anthropology. That itself shows how interesting the subject is. Now, when I say anthropology as a subject, it is nothing but study of me. When I say me, it is a complete study of human being. Now, when I say complete study of human being, what is anthropology as such dealing? The name itself says, you see, anthropos and logos. Logos, we know it deals with science. Anthropos is nothing but the human beings. Now here, when I'm talking about complete study of human being is nothing but anthropology, what does this include when I say this complete study? Now when I say what does this include with respect to this complete study, one, it deals with the past of the human being. Now when I say past of the human being, who are our ancestors? What is the process of evolution? Now when I see the past of human being, that's very interesting. Now I would say whole of the past of the human being has been a phase of resilience. Now we started off our journey with a cranial capacity of 500 cc. Now today we have reached up to 1500 cc, and there are certain species which also indicate with 1800 cc. Now that is nothing but my brain capacity. Now that means that is fundamentally the process of evolution, what has happened in over a period of time. Now we would also study about the present of human being, and we would also definitely study of the future of human being. Now when I say the future of human being, now here in this process I was telling you, we have evolved. In what all prospects that we evolved in over a period of time? One, cranial capacity, that is nothing but my thinking capacity. Previously we were walking on 4 legs, now we are walking on 2 legs, right? I don't think any of us are walking on 4 legs. Okay? So that's a process of evolution. Over a period of time, when we were walking on 4 legs and slowly we moved towards 2 legs, we see there is something called as erect posture coming into the picture. Now when I say erect posture, for whole of my human body that I see, this is going to be my balancing position. Right? Now you try being like this for some time, are you comfortable? No. Right? You try being like this for some time, are you comfortable? No. You try being like this for some time, are you comfortable? No. That fundamentally means that the human body has attained a position which is ensuring its comfort. And this is my position. That means erect posture is my evolution. And more importantly, what is happening these days when I talk about the future, we are talking about the process of de-evolution. Now when I talk about this de-evolution, simple questions I would ask you. How many of you remember more than 50 contact numbers? Right? Maximum you remember your number. Right? If you love me so much, you will remember my number, because everybody has my number, that's there. Or your parents' numbers, your sibling is also doubtful, right? You ask me my brother's number, I don't remember. Yes. Now I say my cranial capacity is 1500 cc, but I'm unable to remember even 10 contact numbers. Why? We see we have something called as the reliance of technology. Now, for suppose you have some doubt, how many of you are sitting and thinking on that particular doubt, or how many of you are directly opening ChatGPT and clicking there? What's happening? Are we thinking? No. What's happening there? ChatGPT, click, and the whole history of it is going to come, and what is going to be my future. Some of you will even type who is going to be my future wife or future husband. Now we started using ChatGPT to be like an astrologer to a larger extent. So what is happening in this process? Whole of my cognitive capacity, the thinking ability started declining. Now, when my thinking ability started declining, that is again a questionable context when it comes to my capacity of evolution. Not only that, now what is happening to my erect posture, my dear? Now, when you see when you're going to sit and study, all of us are sitting erect and studying, or are we bending and studying? We are bending. Slowly over a period of time, don't you think our posture is going to become like this? Now, what is seen to be happening is we see so many of these de-evolution theories which are seen to be emerging. And when you get to understand anthropology, when you get to understand human beings, you would see what is my past, what is my present, what is my future. So when I talk about anthropology, anthropology deals with the temporal understanding of human being. Not only temporal understanding of human being, but you would also see anthropology will also give you the socio-cultural understanding of human being. Now, when I say socio-cultural understanding of human being, now we see we have so many socio-cultural institutions which are existing. Per se, a simple understanding is with respect to marriage. Yes, that's a very big problem in Indian society. Okay. If you are married, they say you're married only once. If you're not married, they say you're not married. And most of our civil services aspirants will definitely have a problem of when will you get married. Yes. Now, what have we been seeing with respect to this institution of marriage? Now, if I straightforward ask most of the candidates sitting in the class, how many of you would love to get married? Right? Now, just let me take you to the era of, say, 1950s, 1960s. Now, if I would have asked you in 1950s, 1960s, how many of you would love to get married? In fact, whole of the class would be flooding, telling that, yes, I am interested to marry you, get me married tomorrow, I'm fantastically happy. But what is happening with us today? We are not ready to get married. Right? Now, at whatever age people tell us to marry, we say it is child marriage to a larger extent. Now, that means, can I say marriage as an institution slowly started to degenerate? Absolutely. Now, when I say marriage as an institution slowly started to degenerate, I see over a period of time, marriage as an institution changed. Once upon a time, I had something called as promiscuous society. There was nothing like marriage. It was all about mating. It was all about breeding. Irrespective of male, irrespective of female, irrespective of marriage, irrespective of partnership, irrespective of courtship, whatever has been existing, we see people were engaging in sexual intercourse irrespective of brother, sister, whatever. Because we were seeing what? Incest as a phenomena which was existing once upon a time. Now, slowly over a period of time, what you started seeing, society started getting organized. Society started getting civilized. Then you find people started talking about polygamous marriages. What is polygamous? One person marrying many. One person marrying many. Now, it could be either polygyny, that means marrying many women, or polyandry. Now, every system of marriage has a reason. Now, they say when we are talking about polyandry, that means marrying many men. The fundamental reason behind women marrying many men, it was a condition of backup. There was a condition of crisis, there was a condition of war, there was a condition of conflict. And in the process, if somebody dies, I still have somebody to procreate. And over a period of time, when the society started to get even more civilized, what started happening, my dear? You find monogamous societies emerging. When I say monogamous societies emerging, one person, one mate, or one husband or one wife. That means individuals existing for eternity, individuals existing for rest of the life. But over a period of time, what do you see, my dear? Is it the same? No. Slowly we started seeing something called as live-in relationship which started emerging. Not only live-in relationship which started emerging, but you also see extramarital affairs have been a very, very common phenomena which could be observed. I am not judging upon the Indian society, but rather I am studying the Indian society, because that is what is my anthropology. And you please understand, all of these institutions are centered around whom? Man. All of these institutions are centered around whom? Human. Now, when I say that it is either live-in relationship, it is either extramarital affairs, or you could also see sometime in 2022, we had a phenomena called as sologamy which came into existence. That means me marrying me. That is what? Sologamy. Now, what are all of these trends indicating to me? These trends are indicating to me that marriage as an institution is degenerating. Now, you might say, sir, you are very judgmental because marriage as an institution is degenerating. Is what is your perception? But let me put a other aspect. I would say marriage as an institution is changing, and not only changing, it is very dynamic. How can you say this? Now, for example, if you look at some of the recent rulings of Supreme Court, you see that it said live-in relationship will also account to marriage. Living relationship will also account to the cases over domestic violence. Now, that was the condition which was put in by Supreme Court. That means what has happened, my dear? It was the free will of the individual to choose who is going to be his or her partner. And you see the conditions of homosexuality coming into the picture. Now, you see same-sex marriages as a condition which was being discussed. You see the matter was positioned in front of Supreme Court, but Supreme Court said, I am nobody to decide upon this. I would request the Parliament to decide upon, because Parliament is the voice of the public. These are the representatives of the public, so they know the pulse of the public. They say homosexual marriages, that's one. Or you see one very, very common kind, that is intercaste or interreligious or interfaith marriages. Right? Now, at some point of time in your life, you would also wish one. But most of the times, the society does not accept. But is it happening? Yes. Is it increasing? Yes. Now, once upon a time, what was the condition of marriage? You see, it was caste-based marriages, or it was caste endogamy. But today, are we looking at caste or are we looking at class? Class. Somebody who is of belonging to the similar economic class, I would like to marry. Right? You see bureaucrats marrying bureaucrats. Why? Those are caste-based marriages or class-based marriages? Class-based marriages. Now, what is happening in this context? I know the past of marriage as an institution. I know the present of marriage as an institution, and I will also know the future of marriage as an institution. Why? Because marriage is centered around human being. And I also know not only marriage as an institution, I would also know family as an institution. When I look at family as an institution, once upon a time, there was nothing like family. It was all promiscuous. And then over a period of time, what started happening? People started talking about something like joint families. Are we having joint families today? Not very prominent. What do we see? We see there is something called as nuclearization of families. Those are nuclear families. But what is the new trend that you see? We see there is something like extended families. What is the difference between joint family and what is the difference between extended family? Is that joint family, you are sharing the common roof with same or similar blood relation. But whereas in the context of extended family, do we have any blood relation which is existing? No blood relation, no relation with respect to the kith and the kin, but they are considered as family. For example, kitty parties. Now, kitty party happens to be what, my dear? Kitty party happens to be a extended family. Right? If you say family friends, what is this family friend culture? Extended family. So what you got to understand or what you got to observe here is family as an institution is changing. What do you observe again apart from nuclear or extended families? You see, there is one more very common trend that we observe, that is single parent family. That's again very common. And when we look at the single parent family which is seen to be existing, this has some relation with marriage as an institution. Now, when I was discussing about the future of marriage, when I was discussing about the present of marriage, what do we see here? We see that the divorce rates are seen to be increasing. Now, when there is an increase in divorce rates, automatically what's going to happen? I see the single parent families are going to increase. So, what is my understanding at this juncture, my dear? We have to understand that family is also changing. It's no more the same, it is no more the common, it is all changing. Now, you look at something like religion. Is religion changing? Very sensitive topic, sir. But not with respect to anthropology. When you go back and refer to, you have your syllabus paper, no? When you go back to and refer to chapter 5 of paper 1, you would see something called as religion, which is mentioned there. Now, when you look at religion as a chapter, what was the past of religion? When I look at the past of the religion, either it was animism, either it was animatism, either it was fetishism, either it is naturism, either it is totemism. When I say all of these forms of religion are what, my dear? They're very, very primitive in nature. When I say primitive nature, we were worshipping nature. Now you see Pushkaralu, you see Kumbh Mela, right? You see something like Nag Panchami. Now in all of these contexts, you have some relation with the primitive religion which is existing, which is centered around nature. Now, not only that, over a period of time, what do you see? You see that either worshipping multiple gods or either worshipping single god. Most of your Abrahamic religions believed in worshipping single god or monotheism. Whereas when you look at some religion like Hinduism, believed in polytheism, which is worshipping multiple gods. Now, are all of these religious characteristics staying intact or is it changing? It is changing. Now, what is seen to be happening? We say religion is a traditional component of Indian society. We say religion is a traditional component of any society per se, be it Christianity, be it Islam, be it Sikhism, be it Buddhism, be it Jainism. Now, you will see all of these being mentioned in chapter 3.4 of paper 2, if you go back and refer. That is all there with respect to what is the corresponding impact of religion on Indian society. And vis-a-vis, if you go and refer to with respect to, I think it is 8.1 in tribal anthropology, you would again see with respect to impact of these religions on tribal societies. Now, when you look at this context, what is seen to be happening? Once upon a time, it was traditional, but today, religion has become modern. For example, online darshan. What is online darshan? Right? You don't have to go to the center, but God comes to you. Yes, online prasad. You don't have to go and collect it, but prasadam comes to you. Right? You see, online delivery of the Kumbh Mela water. Have you seen that? Now, what is that, my dear? I am using internet as a component. I am using transport as a component. I am using my digital technology as a component to realize my religious objectives. Now, can I say that is what is fundamentally talking about modernization of religion? Yes. Not only modernization of religion, on a later date when I am going to discuss about this religion as a phenomena, there is one person by name William Bryson who talks about a beautiful concept called as the secularization of religion. Now, when I say secularization of religion, now my fundamental understanding of secularization of religion is, how many of us are going to the religious place in a traditional dress? Do we still do that? It's a different case altogether. Now, we have some element of flexibility that is provided with respect to dress. Now, how many of you abstain from using mobile phone in the religious place? In fact, we chant some of the holy hymns from internet. That means, what do I see, my dear? I see there is some secularization of religion which is happening. And once upon a time, for me, religion is nothing but what? Sacred. But today, it is not only certain sacred elements are considered which is part of religion, but there are also certain secular elements which are considered part of religion. Now, for example, whenever I refer to somebody called as Sachin Tendulkar, what do you say? You say God of cricket. God of cricket. Iska matlab, cricket is a religion. Now you see the season of IPL going on. Now you know tomorrow you're going to have finals, right? Now after tomorrow's final, if RCB wins, I don't know. I neither have any stakes involved in this. In case if RCB wins, what's going to happen, my dear? Virat Kohli is going to turn into God of IPL probably. Yes. Now what is happening? We started treating cricket as a religion. Now you see European Union, you see countries of Europe, they treat football as a religion. You see you're treating some music band as a religion. Now most of us treat UPSC as a religion and Dolpur House as the holy shrine for all of us. That is the place where we go and visit the last part of our journey happens in Dolpur House, that is nothing but UPSC Bhavan. Now, can I limit my understanding of religion only to sacred elements? No. So, what is seen to be happening today and what will you see in the near future is I see secularization of religion which is seen to be existing. There's a beautiful line which is given here. They say, religion can never go extinct. Please note that religion can never go extinct. It is only that old gods vanish and the new gods emerge. There's a beautiful line from this particular book written by Emile Durkheim. He says there is no extinction of religion. Religion does not vanish. Rather, it is the old gods who are going to diminish and the new gods who are going to emerge. That's very true. And for me, religion is a very, very important component of daily life. You would get to understand the components of religion just one day before the result. What do? You get extremely religious. Now, if I say tomorrow is your mains result, or if I say 1 week down the line your prelims result is going to be declared, you see half the UPSC crowd will be worshipping in some place. Why? We have considered religion as a mechanism to treat our anxiety. We have considered religion as a mechanism to control the uncontrollable parts of life. You say karma. Yes, you say Daivecha, it is all God's wish. Now you say luck. What is this element of luck? We have lot of relation of the element of luck imbibed with religion. So what you got to understand, religion as a phenomena is also very, very close to human being, and that's very, very prominent with respect to human being. There is another aspect of socio-cultural aspects which you study about human being, that is language. Now what's happening with language? Now when I'm going to teach you the evolutionary theories of language, you will see our initial language was all about bow, poo. There are different hypotheses which were present. But after a period of time, what do you see? You slowly started talking about something called as verbal and non-verbal communication. Yes. Now you say, now for suppose if I want to just pretend to be very cool, what do? What does this mean? Now I just did a non-verbal gesture, and what has happened? You understood that what is going on in my mind, right? Or per se, now for suppose when I'm leaving you and going, what is that? That's non-verbal. Now is it present only in human beings? No. I would come to that particular part little later, but you see what has happened over a period of time. I see my verbal and non-verbal communication emerging. But slowly over a period of time, what has happened with respect to this verbal and non-verbal communication is people started manipulating this verbal and non-verbal language. Now again, that's a process. Now for suppose say, there is a concept called as double speak, which we would discuss, which is discussed by William Ludge on a later date. Now when we look at this double speak, what does this mean? I am meaning one thing, but I am telling something. For suppose, you see a lot of software layoffs going on. You see Oracle taking away 30,000 people, right? Now, what do we say? We say sir. Or we also say they're removed. We also say that fellow is laid off. But what do companies convey to these people when they're sending them the mail at 6 a.m. in the morning? That they say, we are looking at the strategic restructuring of the company. And we would expect you to cooperate with us in the process of strategic restructuring. Thank you. What is strategic restructuring? Simple ga ninnu teesestunanu ante. What is happening in this process? Now, which is more hurting to an employee, my dear? You are laid off. You are part and parcel of strategic restructuring of the company. Right? Again, one more simple example. You see, your captain is ready to ride. Rapido. Right? Now, why are they not calling them as drivers? Are they calling them as drivers? Have you seen your Uber driver is ready or your captain is ready? Mostly it is captain is ready. Now, what is happening in this process? My meaning is the same, but I'm making it appear very, very different. Yes. Now, for suppose you see delivery boy, delivery executive. What is the difference? Again, it is the perception about the opposite person by speaking a particular thing. Now, for suppose you come and ask me, sir, how do you think anthropology is? I say, anthropology, you want, you take, otherwise don't take. What's your condition? ఈడికే గ్యారంటీ లేదు, మనం ఏం తీసుకుంటాం. Now, for suppose if I tell you anthropology is that optional which will enable you to get into top 10 of UPSC civil services. I've put it in a very, very positive way, but I will not leave that there. I'll say, but you will have to work a bit more. I will not even say hard, because when I say hard, you take it as hard. Are you understanding what am I doing in this process? It is all double speak. And that is the context of language today. And what is happening, my dear? We also see there is something called as this WhatsApp language, right? TTYL, right? YK, IK or IK, YK, I don't know what is that. I know, you know, I'm sorry. Okay, right? TQ. What is DD? Do not disturb? No. What is JK? Just kidding. Oh, see this. Now, what has fundamentally happened to my language, my dear? My language has been fragmented. If I'm not into understanding of this WhatsApp language, my language is going to be fragmented. Now, when my language is fragmented, automatically what is happening? The structure of the language is changing. The meaning of the language is changing. The syntax of the language is changing. Now, what is one common thing that you got to observe all through the process is anthropology is a study about those things which are related to human beings. One. Anthropology is all about study about past, present, future. And anthropology is that subject which deals with the elements of both the static as well as the dynamic aspects of whom, my dear? The care of address of anthropology is centered around whom? Human being. Now, there is no other optional which will give you a detailed understanding about yourself. Now, why do you hate your relatives? Anthropology will give you an understanding. Why do you love your cousin? Anthropology will give you an understanding. We talk about cross cousin marriages. And we see what is the what is the rationality behind cross-cousin marriages. We see what is the rationality behind extended family. We see what is the rationality with respect to the changing political order. You know, you look at third chapter, you have economic anthropology. You look at fourth chapter, you have political anthropology. In fourth chapter, when you look at political anthropology, you go to the last line of political anthropology, you will see it is talking about the aspects about power, authority, and legitimacy. Now, recently you see that Indian Express most powerful people have been released. And in that, it is obvious that the most powerful person in the country is Prime Minister. It's obvious. Why? Is it about the person or is it about the office? It's about the office because office derives all of this at a time. Power, authority, legitimacy. Now, why do you want to be a civil servant but why not politician? You might say, sir, no money, no legacy, right? So no dynasty politics, so I cannot become politician. Fantastic. But you see, bureaucrat and civil servant derives all three at a time. Power, authority, legitimacy. What is power? What is power? The ability to convince. If I am able to convince that anthropology is a fantastic optional, I am powerful with my subject. What is authority? Legitimate power is authority. Legitimate power is authority. What is legitimacy? Legitimacy is nothing but acceptance. And will I be able to derive all three at a time as a politician? Impossible. Impossible. Now you might even think sir is making a politician claim over anthropology. No. Power, authority, legitimacy, that is nothing but your political anthropology. Now when you look at economic anthropology, go to last line. Look at the last line of economic anthropology, chapter 3. Impact of globalization on indigenous systems. Yes. Now straight away go to 5.1 of paper 2. Now you might be thinking, sir has by-hearted the syllabus just now. That is why he came half an hour late. No. Right? That's impossible, my dear. That is the speciality that I have with anthropology. Okay. Go to 5.1. Can you see impact of globalization on Indian villages? Yes. Now both of them will be very similar. We would discuss about a beautiful understanding of Arjun Appadurai with respect to globalization as a phenomenon. Now when we look at globalization as a phenomena, he says globalization is nothing but 5 aspects. He talks about something called as escape model. The mnemonic that I would teach you there is fit me. He says globalization is all about movement of finances, ideas, technology, media, and ethno is nothing but culture. That's nothing but globalization. Because globalization is all about what? Movement across different countries, movement of what? Ethnoscape, idioscape, financioscape, technoscape, and mediascape. If all of these are moving across places, that is globalization. In globalization, you might see hybridization, homogenization, glocalization. In all of these understanding, what do you see? We fundamentally observe that globalization has resulted in something called as composite culture. And when we're going to discuss about the impact of globalization on Indian villages, now you tell me that has globalization affected my villages? Yes. With respect to what? You look at e-commerce, you look at social media, you look at your FMCGs which are present there. That is your ready to eat items. Do you find Maggi? Do you find Coke? Do you find Diet Coke in a village? Mostly yes. Now all of these are what? FMCGs which are present, and that is the categorical impact of globalization. And one beautiful study that we would study there is by Rudolph and Rudolph. He says globalization has fundamentally impacted and resulted in something called as bullock cart capitalism. It has resulted in something called as bullock cart capitalism. Now, what is this bullock cart capitalism? When I fundamentally look at the commercialization of my agriculture as an activity. Now, once upon a time, for me, agriculture was all about what, my dear? Filling my stomach, feeding my neighbors, feeding my village. But today, is agriculture the same? No. Agriculture is all about what? Commerce. Agriculture is all about what? Trade. Agriculture is all about what? Profit. And agriculture is all about what? Innovation. And you see something like organic, you see something like ZBNF, you see something like this hydroponics. Now, all of this is fundamentally what? Enabling me to realize my profit motives through agriculture. And that is fundamentally impact of what? Globalization. Now, why am I telling you all of this? Am I trying to impress you? No. I'm fundamentally telling you that anthropology is one subject which is extremely dynamic. The reason why I'm telling you this is there is a very, very wrong notion about anthropology as a subject. What people say, now prior to this session, almost 6 hours I had interacting with over 80 students today. Right? From morning 11 o'clock till 5, I was having an interaction with these candidates. Now, across these candidatures also, and many other people and many other notions that have been set about this optional is, sir, what is there in anthropology? I will take some toppers notes, I will read it, I will by heart it, and I will write it, and I will become civil servant. But please understand, if you take some toppers notes, if you read it, if you by heart it, if you write it, you will only get to 220. But was 220 sufficient to get an interview call? You look at the calculations. I started my session with calculations because I wanted to put in rationality of why anthropology to a larger extent. Anthropology is extremely dynamic. It is not the false narrative which is put on this subject. And every aspect of the syllabus, every point of the syllabus has a dynamic perspective which is existing. If it is not there, I will create. If it is not there, I will study and come and tell you. And people say anthropology is very static. No. Anthropology is one such optional which is extremely dynamic with strong roots present on the static. And you understand these dynamics of anthropology today, you name the chapter, you name the part of your life, you name the part of your society, you will start understanding anthropology. Now just imagine, my dear, I randomly entered the class and I'm pointing my finger and telling you, what will happen? When I'm pointing, some of you are staring at me, how dare you point? ఎంత ధైర్యం ఉంటే నీకు నా వేలు చూపిస్తావు కదా? Now, did you ever bother that if somebody is pointing a finger at you, why are you bothered so much? If I'm pointing a gun, valid. If I'm pointing a finger and talking to you, why are you bothered? Somebody would have told you. Or maybe you would have seen your father fighting and he would have picked up fight when somebody was showing finger. వేలు చూపించి మాట్లాడు, వేలు దించు, వేలు దించు. Or if somebody who is very vigorous, అలా వేలు చూపించగానే వేలు పట్టుకుని ఇట్లా అంటే, why are you bothered? తెలుసా మనకి? తెలియదు. Anthropology will give you a reason. Why? Because in primitive societies, when you look at primitive societies believed in magic. And during this period, most of the magical spells were put using fingers. Have you seen Harry Potter? That fellow uses a wand, stupefy. Yes, but the primitive society was using fingers. Now, if I point a finger at somebody, it means I am casting a magical spell at you. and the opposite person is scared about this magical spell. And that is an evolutionary learning that we have today. And today, our ancestors, our primitive ancestors have told, if somebody is pointing a finger, it means I'm casting a spell on you. And if somebody sees this, they're scared of it. So what do? They fundamentally deny somebody pointing a finger. How good men are with colors? Right? For us, pink is pink. Green is green. Right? Red is red. Now, but you see female, they're fantastic with colors. Yes? Okay. How good women are with directions? Yes? I am not gender stereotyping at this point. Now, the fundamental reason that you have to understand is all of this has an evolutionary memory. Now, when I say evolutionary memory, which is seen to be existing in this context, men were involved in hunting. Men were involved in foraging. Now, you might question, why were men involved in hunting? Why were men involved in foraging? Why not women? Because one, when you look at this hunter-gatherer societies, when you look at foraging society, they were supposed to hunt an animal which was sufficient for almost 10 days for a group of 10 to 20 people. Now, if they were supposed to carry this animal, they were supposed to have some element of muscular strength, which could be seen among men. But one more condition why women were not involved in hunting, why were men alone involved in hunting, was women had an element of vulnerability during the menstrual cycle. You know, during the menstrual cycle, because of the prevalence of or the oozing of the blood, it could be drawing the attention of animal and they could be a potential prey. In order to avoid these conditions, what happens? Men were more involved with hunting. Now, if I was supposed to go and hunt, I will have to remember where was I banding, where was I present. So I will have to be very clear with my directions. In this process, what was happening? You see, the society was having division of labor. The division of labor most of the times was dependent upon sex. And when we say the division of labor was most of the time dependent upon sex, men were busy going for hunting, men were busy going for foraging society. But whereas women were very good with the domestic activities. They were looking at the rearing activities, they were looking at the decorative aspects, they were looking at the arrangement aspects, they were looking at the domestic aspects. Now, in the process of decoration, in the process of domestic aspects, what? They were supposed to have a fantastic understanding of colors. They built the natural aptitude towards colors. The evolutionary memory says women are fantastic with colors and men are decently good with directions. No gender stereotyping, that is evolutionary. One more simple understanding that I would tell you. Now, we have one small concept here which is existing. When you look at the evolutionary aspect again, purely basis on evolutionary understanding and an academic research which has been going on this, that it was observed to a larger extent women were compared to be more loyal in a relationship than men. Again, it's a study. It could be subjected to variation. It is on a case-by-case basis, but an average study which was done was women were more loyal in a relationship than men. Now, when they went on to understand what is the evolutionary memory, what is the evolutionary aspect behind, what they could find was men were always running for immortality. Immortality ante entamma? Eppudu chavaguddu. I should be living into eternity was what was the target of men in the evolutionary thinking process. Now, when they were thinking about this immortality, you know, if you are born, you are ought to die. And the only way that men are going to realize this immortality is what? Through the process of procreation. That means they will have to multiply their genes, they will have to multiply their characters and give rise to many children. And this giving rise to many children was not possible with one woman, because any woman has a breeding limitation. Any woman has an element of something called as fertility and fecundity. So in the process to realize the target of immortality, to realize this target of procreation with many, it was appearing as if men were not loyal in the relation when it was compared to women. Why women are considered to be more loyal in a relation to a larger extent? It was with respect to the pain that they undergo during the process of pregnancy. Again, observational research. And where is this drawn from? Drawn from evolutionary studies. Now, after listening to these are just 5% of the things which I am talking about anthropology today. Can you still say anthropology as a subject is static? Can you still say anthropology is all about by-hearting? Can you still say anthropology is all about rote learning? Can you still say anthropology is all about writing some notes and by-hearting and vomiting in the answer? No. Anthropology is extremely dynamic when it comes to its understandings. That could be from the side of human being, that could be from the side of past, present, future, that could be from the side of socio-cultural institutions, that could be from the side of archaeological aspects, that could be from the side of evolutionary aspects, that could be from the side of caste, that could be from the side of village, that could be from the side of tribe. My anthropology is this. Now, one major apprehension that I see about anthropology, people say anthropology is biology. Again, I would like to remind you that I have done my +1 and +2 with MPC, so no BPC. I would like to again remind you, I am an electrical engineering with gold medal, no biology. Again, I would like to remind you that I am MTech polymer technology with gold medal, no biology. Now, do I need biology to study anthropology? No. One understanding. The second understanding about this is, please understand, my dear, you have syllabus papers in your hand. I will tell you some words, you kindly find, are they in my syllabus? Right? Endocrinal systems. Is it there in the syllabus? Huh? Endocrinal systems. Is it there? Yes, no? No. Digestive system. No, people should not digest now. Digestive system. No, you say it is biology, you should find it in the syllabus. Is it there? No. Cardiovascular system. Undamma? Excretory system. Is it there? Ophthalmology. Gynecology. Unda? How can you say it is biology? Okay. Search for xylem and phloem. Search. Is it there? Pollen grains. Pollination process. Is it there? If these are not there, is my anthropology biology? No. Do I need a bio background to study anthropology? No. Please understand, my dear, for me, all of this will stand irrelevant at this juncture. And when I say anthropology, please remember, Anthropology is not about biology, but it is the socio-cultural understanding of human beings. When I say human beings, the socio-cultural understanding of human biology as well. What is the maximum biology we study? What is the chromosomal composition of female? X, X. Male? Are you sure about this? Then your anthropology is over. That's all. How many types of blood groups do we know? A, B, O. You know this? Positive, negative. You know this? Over. Okay. Now in general, now when I'm talking about marriage, you tell me what is going to be the order of preference with respect to our parents. 1, stranger. 2, cousin. 3, sister or brother. Who is preferred to be married? Most of the times it is stranger. Yes. Why? Why? Why I can't marry my cousin? Fundamentally, please understand, they say no. You have this cousin marriages, there is a problem of some genetic issue. Congenital diseases. Go to 9.3 of paper 1 and refer the last 2 lines of 9.3. The genetic effects of consanguinal and non-consanguinal marriages. Consanguinal means what, my dear? I am marrying somebody who is related to me. Non-consanguinal is what? Stranger. Who is more preferred? Stranger. That's all. Now go to 12th chapter. In 12th chapter, go to the last 3 lines of 12th chapter, which is applied human genetics. Paternity diagnosis, eugenics. Yes? Have you seen eugenics there? Now when you look at eugenics, you can find multiple instances of eugenics. I'll tell you one simple example of eugenics. Matrimonial websites. What do they say? Have you seen this classy fields in the newspaper on Sunday? What do they say? Bride wanted. Yes? Tall, fair, intelligent, well settled, long hair. Yes? Groom wanted. Tall, handsome, good package, good value based family. ఇవన్నీ చదివారా చదవలేదు? Am I exaggerating? No. I am even practically seeing them now. That's yes. Why? Now why they never said that I want an ethical boy? Or why they never said that I want a girl with good value base? Why are they telling I want somebody who is tall, who is fair of complexion? Why? That is the classic context of eugenics. What is eugenics? It is something with related to good genes. And if I have to simply define eugenics, for me eugenics is nothing. It is to promote good genes and delete bad genes. Yes or no? Yes. Now you see, that in some of the societies the dowry volume is fixed upon the skin complexion. That's existing in the Indian society. I am not promoting dowry here. Please don't get me wrong. I am fundamentally telling what is present in my Indian society. Now, why is that happening, my dear? There is a probability that if I go for dark complexion, because you see in India, fair complexion is considered to be more superior than dark complexion. But should I tell you something? Should I tell you something? India is in tropical region. Yes. Tropical region means lot of sunlight. Lot of sunlight means you see high temperature. Yes. Now, what is the natural gene in a tropical region? Somebody who is seen to be having dark skin, because the melanin composition that is present in my skin is going to act like a shield against this temperature. Now, you tell me who is advantageous in tropical region. Is it somebody with fair skin or is it somebody with dark skin? Are you understanding? This is anthropology. And for me, anthropology is all about understanding what is going on with respect to the society in and around me at every topic, be it race and racism, be it epidemiological anthropology, be it in the context of ecological anthropology. Now, what happens in the context of ecological anthropology, my dear? Somebody living in hot climate is different, somebody living in cold climate is different, somebody living in high altitude is different, somebody living on the plains, they are different. Now, why is this difference? This difference is probably because of climate. This difference is probably because of the availability of food. This difference is probably because of the existing environment that is present in that region. So what I would like to tell you at this juncture is that if I have to summarize anthropology is all about studying human being, the past, the present, the future. It is all about studying human being with respect to the biology, with respect to the culture, with respect to the society. And anthropology is all about studying the static aspects of human being and studying the flux, which is nothing but the dynamic aspects of human being. And I know what is the future of human being if I study anthropology, and I can be a fantastic astrologer if I study anthropology, because I can predict my future. I can predict my future of Indian caste. I can predict my future of Indian tribe. I can predict my future of Indian villages. I can predict my future of Indian development because we study about developmental anthropology. I can predict the future of the diseases in the world and in the society because we study about something called as Omran's understanding of epidemiological transition. And I can fantastically understand what is the future of climate change and what is the corresponding impact of climate change on human beings, because I study the ecological anthropology, which is nothing but 9.7 of paper 1. So what I would like to tell you at this juncture, as a subject, it's interesting. As a subject, it is very dynamic. As a subject, I get to understand every inch of my life. For example, you go and refer to 3.1 of paper 2, where you talk about the Indian social systems, where you study about Purushartha, Varnashrama Dharma, Rina, Karma, rebirth, that is nothing but Punarjanma. And you also see Moksha is nothing but no Punarjanma. Punarjanma is nothing but no Moksha. Now, if I have to attain moksha, which is nothing but liberation, which is believed in the Indian society, I will have to meet my obligations. The obligations are nothing but rina, which is nothing but the social debts which are existing to me. Pitru runa, Daiva runa, Manushya runa. All of these are fundamentally what? Now you perform certain funeral rituals. Now that is nothing but meeting my Rina. Now you look at this Rina which is existing is also present with respect to various Purusharthas and Varnashrama dharmas. I pass through the phase of Brahmacharya, Gruhastu, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa, and Sannyasa is a phase where I am very close to liberation, and I would attain liberation in the phase of Sannyasa or after the phase of Sannyasa if I have met my obligations. We study the ultimate philosophy of life, and that is only possible in anthropology. Anthropology is we study in and out about everything. You name it, I can tell you 10 things using anthropology. Now, the third aspect about anthropology with which I would like to conclude today's session is how relevant it is with my general studies. When I say how relevant it is with my general studies, it is relevant with respect to my society. It is relevant with respect to my history, especially the proto-Vedic periods. It is relevant with respect to the polity and the governance aspects, especially the welfare perspectives of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and OBCs, as well as the vulnerable sections. It is relevant, that is, which is nothing but my social justice perspective. It is relevant, even minorities are also covered in your paper too if you go and refer. Right? And if you look at the aspects of economy, you deal with aspects of land reforms, aspects of agriculture and the changing dynamics of agriculture here. Whole of your science and technology will be covered in the context of anthropology. You would definitely be a better person to write science and tech any given day at any cost. You will be able to better understand internal security, especially in the context of extremism. And you can definitely have some components which are present with respect to your ethics. Now, when you go back and refer to the first chapter of ethics, where deals with the process of socialization, whole of your anthropology, when you go back and refer to chapter 2.1 and 2.2, which is nothing but culture and society, there we study the theories of socialization, we look at social stratification, we look at social hierarchy, and more importantly, we also look at the process of re-socialization, socialization institutions, social groups. Now, all of these are definitely prevalent when it comes to ethics. And more importantly, you look at 6th chapter, which is nothing but anthropological thought. You look at 8th chapter, which is nothing but research methodologies, where we would get to understand the positivist approach, we get to understand the phenomenological approach. When I say phenomenological approach, it fundamentally means I'm constructing my subject reality and subjective reality when it comes to every aspect of human life. I study about emic perspective, ethic perspective. I study about fieldwork, I study about participant observation, I study about questionnaire, I study about all of these, and definitely the principles that we learn which are based with respect to anthropology are helpful in writing my ethics. So relevance with respect to general studies also is present with respect to anthropology. And finally, why you should take anthropology with respect to our institution? Because paper 1 I will be dealing, and paper 2 will be dealt by Nadeem sir. I'll tell you to do one social experiment. Karlo. You go back to your hostels, or if you have some seniors with respect to anthropology, what I would suggest you to do is ask them what is the book list that they are referring. They will definitely tell you one particular book, Tribal Anthropology by Nadeem Hasnain sir. Not only in Hyderabad, across India we have this particular book being referred by every anthropology student of civil services. And that person teaches only at this particular place. Now, what is the speciality of sir? Now, in fact, I am a very, very small person to talk about this stalwart upon anthropology, because he is a person who is working with anthropology all through his life, and that is the best seller when it comes to anthropology, reference books in the context of civil services. So he is going to come and teach paper 2. What is sir's perspective when it comes to anthropology is mostly realistic in nature, and he has been in the setting team of UPSC, the question paper setting team of UPSC for some years. So definitely sir knows what is the corresponding demand of this subject, and sir would be dealing with paper 2, I would be dealing with paper 1. And more importantly, what we would see in anthropology is, please understand that I will have to interlink paper 1 and paper 2, which I would be doing when I'm dealing with paper 1. Because when I'm dealing with the aspects of 2.1 and 2.2, I will definitely have to come back to 3.2, 3.1 of paper 2 at any cost. I will have to refer to certain aspects of 5.1 and 5.3, because when you look at 5.3 of paper 2, you see exogenous and indigenous processes like Sanskritization, Westernization, modernization, interaction of little tradition and great tradition. All of those aspects are present in 5.3. So this is one more dimension that you will have to understand why choose anthropology with us. The major reason is with respect to Nadeem sir, because of his experience with respect to the subject, with respect to his books, with respect to his knowledge, with respect to his wisdom when it comes to anthropology as a optional. So if I have to summarize, anthropology is interesting. Anthropology is not biology. Anthropology is all about study of you and me. And anthropology is definitely the one which is going to determine your rank. And I will have to put one point very clear here, that I will never promise you to get 300. There is a logic here. You would never see my videos, or you would never see my flyers, or you would never see me promising 300 in anthropology. Why? Because I know the reality of it. Now, for example, in 2024, the highest was 298. Now, how can I promise 300 if the highest is 298? In 2022 or one of these years, the highest was 286. How can I promise 300 if the highest is 286? Now, please understand, my dear, crossing 300 in an optional is fundamentally the procedural aspect of UPSC. You know, there is an opaque process called scaling which goes on with respect to UPSC optionals. And in the process, it determines whether an optional is crossing 300 or not. Deliberately, can I cross 300? No. What is my benchmark that I would always promise you when it comes to the score? It is 270 to 290. And if I'm going to have the score of 270 to 290 in optional, definitely my selection is going to be closer, right? So that is one more thing that I wanted to clarify. What are we going to do as part of the class? One, we would have the general understanding of the topic. Then we would have the corresponding interlinkage with paper 2 and paper 1. Then we would have corresponding notes on that particular topic. Along with these things, I would link paper 1 with chapter 6 of paper 1. When I say chapter 6, you go and see chapter 6, you will have over 20-25 thinkers which are present. And we would see how can I use this 25 thinkers in rest of my anthropology is going to be my art of interlinkage. I would do that. And not only that aspect, we would have something called as value addition handouts. Value addition handouts on every chapter, be it 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. On every chapter, we would have a value addition handout, which can also be called as a revision handout when it comes to your examination. So we are going to have class notes, we would have handouts, we would have explanation, we would have running notes, and more importantly, we would definitely have interlinkages. Now, why? Because if I don't have interlinkages, your score would be stuck with 220 and 230. Many people have this score which is stuck. But for me, what is going to be more important at this juncture, it is not 220, it is not 230, it is at least 270. Now, 270 is possible through interlinkages. And one more thing, I'm making it very clear, I am not going to give you some compilation of case studies. Or I will never tell learn 1000 case studies and write it in exam. My fundamental understanding with this subject is if I have 50 case studies, we will be able to use this 50 case studies across paper 1 and wherever it is possible with paper 2. What is the fundamental approach is knowing minimum and writing maximum. And આજકલ people say that anthropology is becoming tough. Those people who are telling anthropology is becoming tough, fundamentally those are the ones who are by-hearting notes and writing. If you understand what is going on with the subject is fantastically dynamic, fantastically interesting and fantastically doable. అర్థం చేసుకొని రాయాలి, బట్టి పట్టి కాదు. కొన్ని చోట్ల బట్టి పట్టాల్సిందే. Now I cannot sit and understand how is my fossil. I can still make you understand how is my fossil. Now for suppose if you refer to 1.5, 1.6 of paper 1 and 1.3 of paper 2, there you will have to write about few fossils. Now people say, sir, fossils, what will we study? It is headache. No headache, you will have to start from head only. Very simple. Whenever I am writing 1.5, 1.6, I will write that answer by looking at the opposite person. But be very careful that opposite person is not looking at you back. Because over a period of time, you see there is skeletal changes due to erect posture which is written. Or they say what is changing across the process of evolution. I definitely know my head is changing, my face is changing, my nose is changing, my dentition is changing, my thorax is changing, my vertebral column is changing, my pelvis is changing, my femur is changing, my legs are changing, my toes are changing, my fingers are changing. Yes. Is my answer done? Yes. 1.5, 1.6, this is the trick. In 1.5, 1.6, we can still write the characteristic features of the fossil even without by-hearting, provided you understand how are they changing. Over. Right? And people say, sir, archaeology too much to by-heart. Why too much to by-heart? You will only by-heart if you don't know how to remember. For me, when I'm talking about Paleolithic sites, for me, Paleolithic is majorly concentrated in South India. And Paleolithic is majorly concentrated in Punjab region, Son Valley. If I say Mesolithic, middle, Meso means middle, Mesolithic. Neolithic, N, north, northern region, Gufrakal, Burzaham, all of these regions. Megalithic, two regions, southern region, northeastern region. Where is megastar? South India. So megalithic, southern region, northeastern region was left out, so definitely northeastern region also megalithic. What is Iron Age? Megalithic. Should you by-heart? No. Are you understanding? It has a logical way to remember things, right? I would like to leave you for 5 minutes if you have any doubts about anthropology as an optional. Should I take Sir, am I risking my life by taking anthropology? You are definitely risking your life by not taking anthropology. Ante adi. Right? All due respects to other optionals. Any other questions you want? Online, you are also free to ask me any questions. I'm more than happy to answer. Any questions? Course timeline, it would get my part will get over by mid-August. That is somewhere before August 15th. Then you would have your sir's part, which will take, sir would take around 20 sessions on paper 2. So which you can expect by September. You can expect it by September to be over with respect to optional. Any other? That is a timeline, right? And with respect to timings of the class, we would update. Right? We are still, should we take it in the evening? Should we take it in the morning? Depending upon when should we take it, right? Whatever is convenient to you, to me, to us, we'll do that. Any other question? Now you have planned something on me. Right. Now, all due respects to sociology as well. Right. I'm not telling that is bad, this is good, or this is bad, that is good. Choice is yours. Right. But now when I say anthropology versus sociology, this deals with human beings. This deals with social, biological, cultural, and environmental aspects of human beings. This has a holistic study. This deals with the past, present, future. Go to 1.2 of paper 1 once. What is 1.2 of paper 1? Differences with other subjects. So here I am not dealing with optional, rather I am writing an answer for 1.2. Okay. Here also it deals with human, but here majorly it deals with socio-cultural. So as it is not dealing with the biological and environment aspect, so this is not holistic, rather it is part study. And more importantly, this majorly deals with the present and the future, not the past. This deals with the primitive as well as modern societies, rather this deals with modern society. So I am not comparing as an answer, but I am not comparing as a subject, but rather I have written an answer for 1.2. Okay. Right, to understand better, you can attend sociology optional orientation tomorrow, which is 31st. Okay. But if I was supposed to keep it very academic and understanding, this is what it is. See, I would say both are performing well in UPSC. For me, at the end of the day, it is not about interest, my dear, it is about what is performing. It is about what is saving my time when I am sitting and preparing for optional. And more importantly, what is more objective. When I say anthropology, you look at half of paper 1 is physical anthro. The beauty of physical anthro is examiner cannot cut marks. Examiner cannot cut marks because this is extremely objective. Genes ante genes. Ante kada. How will I change genes? Now tell me understanding of genes. Genes. Will they change? No, genes to you is genes to me. But society to you is not society to me. Marriage to you is not marriage to me. Consanguineous impacts or consanguineous marriages and corresponding genetic impacts is same to you and to me. Race to you is same as race to me. Blood group to you is same as blood group to me. Environmental anthropology to you is same as to me. Disease to you is same as to me. Now, when I don't have much of variation in the opinion, automatically what happens? It's become very objective, and examiner is ought to give. That is where in paper 1 you have the potential of hitting 150, 160 also in anthro. Why? It is objective. And most of you curse, sir, physical anthro is biology. Physical anthro is socio-cultural understanding of human biology. That's all. No biology. I showed you. I have proven that there is no biology in anthro. And understanding genes is not very difficult. Now, what is gene? Something which is containing something. What is biotechnology? Cut, put, get is biotechnology. That is what we do with genes. When I combine biotech with genes, that becomes my anthropology, that becomes my applied human genetics. We study about forensics, forensic anthropology, where we see how to reconstruct crime or crime scene, disaster scene, right? Paternity diagnosis, right? Who is the father? How will you analyze who is the father? All of those will be there, right? Any other? Yes, my dear. Not maximum. That is humanly possible. I am again telling you 300 is not the act of human, it is the act of UPSC. Please be very clear. Because I could have bluffed you by saying anthropology pattu 300 kottu చెప్పిండొచ్చు. I would have definitely told you, come to me, I will give you 300. Babu, it is not you and me who is giving 300, it is UPSC who is going to give you 300. In the scaling process, if it is crossing 300, it is crossing 300. If it is not crossing 300, it is not crossing 300, but 290 is what I can get, what I can make you get, what you can get. Are you understanding? So every optional, this is the case, right? Many people might differ with me, but I am very clear with what's happening with 300. I'm very clear with what's happening with 300, because in one of the attempts, my score was 324. In the very next attempt, my score became 286. Does that mean my anthropology knowledge reduced? Or didn't I write something? Now, somebody who got 324, how come it will become 286 suddenly? Now, suddenly, how come it could become 278? Is it that on a daily basis, my anthropology knowledge is decreasing? No. There are certain procedural aspects which are not controlled by you and me. That is, 300 is one of those. 270 to 290. I will tell you what to do for 270 to 290. That's my job. But if the speed of the Saturn is fantastic on your head, then it could cross 300 plus. I could have bluffed you, my dear. I could have definitely bluffed you. You would not have even known. Ra kucho class lo kucho 300 teppissa. And the way I speak also, I am damn sure that you people will believe. I could have made you believe that I will make you get 300, but वो तो bluffing हो गया ना, नहीं हो गया यार. 270, 290, my business. I will do that part fantastically. Sir, any optional is not easy. Now, any optional is not easy depending upon from whom are you learning. Depending upon to what extent are you learning. Depending upon what is your exam orientation. My optional is easy provided I learn in right manner, provided I have exam orientation. Right? Now, does that mean no, you will finish anthro in 1 month, did I say? I gave you a decent timeline where it demands time. Right? So, I'm not telling my optional is easy, but I'm telling you I will make it easy. right? So it depends, subjective. Okay. Tribal anthropology by Nadeem sir, is this book covers both paper 1? No, tribal anthropology is only for paper 2. Sir is dealing paper 2, I will be dealing paper 1. Okay. Sir, what about political science? I am not very aware. నేను చదువుకోలేదు, నాకు తెలియదు, right? I'm not very aware about political science, but I'm fantastically aware about what is going on with anthropology. All due respects, you can kindly find out from the respective experts. Somebody is asking me, should I take optional and GS parallelly? Now, somebody who is attempting 27, you will have to do that. There is no choice. Somebody who is writing 27, you will have to carry on your optional and GS, because you should finish your optional any given day by November. Any optional per se. I'm not talking about my optional. Any optional you should finish by November if you're attempting the exam in 2027. If you're planning for 2028, you can wait. There's no issue. Okay. Sir, PSR overlaps with GS. Anthropology is a scoring subject. Each has its own advantage. That which might be the best? For me, anthropology is the best. Undoubtedly. Right? I already started my session saying that it might seem very biased, but I would love to be biased in the context of anthropology. ఆంథ్రోపాలజీని నమ్మితే ఖచ్చితంగా చెడిపోరు. బాగుపడతారో లేదో నాకు తెలియదు. ఆర్ యు అండర్స్టాండింగ్? ఖచ్చితంగా చెడిపోరు, బాగుపడతారో లేదో నాకు తెలియదు. దట్ ఈస్ ద బ్యూటీ ఆఫ్ దిస్ సబ్జెక్ట్. ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ, కమ్ ఆన్ మై డియర్. రైట్? ఎనీ అదర్ క్వశ్చన్? Any other question? No? Is it clear? Right? Yes. Me? I would not write civil services. Right? Okay. Now, his question was, if there was no anthropology as an optional, what optional would you choose? Now, if I have to be very objective in that particular context, I would choose something which is covering maximum of my GS. Why? Because at the end of the day, I should not keep divided efforts. Right? Now, I would come to your answer again. If it was my personal choice, if there was no anthropology, I would choose geology. Why is this condition for me? Because this is common for civil services as well as Indian Forest Service. If there was no anthropology, but anthropology is the best, undoubtedly, and we are blessed to have anthropology in civil services. Right? Sir, can't I write anthropology in civils and some other optional in forest service? That's what I did. That's what I did, which can be done. Why? Because you have 2 months of gap between civil services mains and forest service mains. And the beauty of forest service mains is you can pick up optional in those 2 months. That can be done. So you don't have to bias your attempt based upon this. And one more aspect of anthropology is, you see, it is mostly chosen by somebody who is not from the background of anthropology. But when I look at something like economics, when I look at something like PSIR, or when I look at something like geology, or when I look at something like philosophy, when I look at something like psychology, I see the graduate students picking up these options. And their level of expertise will be very different from our level of expertise, because they have studied that as part of their graduation. But anthropology is one such subject which is mostly picked up by somebody who has never studied anthropology. So all of us are going to be on a level playing field, and if I perform little better than somebody else who is writing this optional, I am on a upper edge, because it is going to be relative to me. That's one more point that you'll have to understand. You can come across MA history, you can come across MA sociology, you can come across MA political science, but how many of you have come across something called as MA anthropology? Very few universities have MA anthropology. Somewhere it is also MSc anthropology. We will debate whether anthropology is science or anthropology is social sciences. We would see that because we have still not classified whether anthropology is science or social studies. Okay. So we have our own advantages when it comes to this particular. Sir, paper 1 book that you recommend to the students, I would say follow class, follow notes, follow handouts, follow answer writing techniques. And the expertise in answer writing with anthropology is generating answers using syllabus of anthropology. Right? And one problem with recommending one source for anthropology paper 1 is we don't have any. In fact, if I have to pick up for archaeology, I have a different source. I have for physical, I have a different source. For socio-cultural, different source. Right? Now, I cannot keep on reading so many sources. No, sir, I want to have some base reference. Then you can look at MA anthropology books. You know, IGNO Open University, Indira Gandhi Open University, it has MA anthropology. You can refer to those books, but when you go back and refer to those books are over 40 booklets. Right? Now you don't have to worry because I have gone through all of those. I've gone through basic sources. I've gone through certain research articles. I've gone through some toppers notes. I've gone through every notes. And overall, whatever we are going to discuss in the class will be a composition of 6 different sources of anthropology. You go and refer to, there is one book called as Amber and Amber. Right? That will be this fact. Now, some people will suggest read Amber and Amber, but I would highly recommend don't read Amber and Amber. Why? Because things will anyway be covered in class. And the fundamental objective is leave the burden of optional to me. You take the burden of GS. Rest we will take care with respect to this subject. Any other questions? That's all? Right? Good to go?